Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Curios Cast. This week we are discussing Die Glocke, the Nazi experiment of time travel, seeing the future and antigravity. Is it true? Is it fake? Find out on this week's Curios Cast.
The Glocke.
Ah, Die Glocke. Das Glocke.
Oh, God.
How are we doing,
I'm
boys?
looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Before you get into it, I've got a quick follow-up from Inevitable Vegan Future, right?
Yes.
Oh, number one fan.
He's
probably.
always welcome.
He's sent in a little follow-up to I don't know what episode it was. Maybe it was fairly recently. It's about the person getting the cable stuck inside them. In like their
up the urethra.
Up the urethra, and they tried to say it had gone in, they'd swallowed it or something, and obviously they hadn't.
And I probably made the most underappreciated joke on the podcast when I called it a urethra net cable, and you two just like
I didn't notice that.
The little puff of a laugh, and I had 3 different people come up to me in person and say that urethra net cable joke got me, but you guys didn't appreciate it.
Maybe I didn't hear it.
Maybe not.
I don't know,
I'm glad you've got an opportunity to bring it back up. I don't remember hearing that. No,
Yeah.
that is good. I would have popped to that.
Go on, what's Inevitable Vegan Future got for us?
Basically, this is so shit that I haven't actually even read it. I just read the first line. He backed up his hard drive and his penis. It's a teen gets USB cable stuck in penis, backfired attempt to measure length. So apparently, according to this, apparently he was trying to measure its length. That's the biggest load of shit I've ever heard.
What, the cable or his
his penis, his member.
Yeah, he's like, well, I know my dick is 9.5 inches, so I'm going to see how big this cable is.
It doesn't make it, by threading it in, you could just hold it up next to it, mate. The sex experiment backfired when the cable come lodged in the curious teen's scrotum like an electronic catheter. Despite attempts to attract it himself, I guess that means like inside his balls because it's gone in.
That's where it goes then.
The USB cord became tangled so terribly that both ends were left hanging out of his
Wait a minute. Just how's it gone into his scrotum? And you just said it's where it goes.
Well, there obviously is a connection because
your balls are where your semen is.
Surely
it comes out.
Your ball hole is too small for a cable to go in. Like surely you.
Maybe this is what he was trying to find out.
Surely you're not.
That's what he was trying to measure.
I'll show you. You can see the fuck again. This could be one of those absolute bullshit fucking X-ray things, but because it looks mental.
Oh, we got an X-ray.
We got an X-ray, yeah, classic Curios Cast, fucking inside weird object X-ray.
All your viewers get to see the lovely X-ray here.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
And I love this. Look at this. Some of the things they've written in this fucking article. After initial attempts to remove the wire failed, the teen was transferred to University College Hospital London to see if they could extricate the intrapenile measuring tape. They're just making up this shit. But the funny thing was, though, like Inevitable Vegan Future said when he was looking it up, because he sort of read it and then he was looking it up to send to me the other day, about 3 others came up as well. Like this happened. He said the one you spoke about came up, this one came up, and then there's another one which he also linked me to, which is it could be talking about the same one but just different pictures, but it's
I love in that X-ray you can see his John Thomas and his cock and his bollocks like in the X-ray.
Yeah, is that really what happens in an X-ray? Like,
well, you can see it.
Yeah, you can see like his legs and stuff. You can see like his flesh.
Yeah.
I guess so. But it's a knotted cable. So
and he's also got the big end in. He's got a big end in. Nah, that's bullshit. There's no way you can get the big end in. Like I remember we discussed this before. We're like, what type of end was it? We're like, if it was like Lightning or a USB-C or a micro USB,
maybe.
But that end, the USB-A on the end, nah.
I can't figure out how many holes he's got because this cable's all over the place in there.
It's fucking nonsense in it. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Or unless this is just
it like of the cable after removal, and there's like a big censored, pixelated section.
It's all bloody. It's not pixelated on mine.
What?
No, it's not. It's not pixelated on my one.
Oh.
But your picture just hasn't loaded.
I'm on there's a Daily Mail article and there's something that's pixelated out in the bottom corner. But yeah, anyway.
Sorry, I've just read the bottom of the article and it says Last month, a Randy, Michigan man was left struggling to pee after he got 6 kidney beans lodged in his urethra. 6 kidney beans? What's he doing?
Oh, yeah, that's weird. That's just the blood they've
pixelated out the blood. Yeah,
because you can't tell what that is. Yeah,
so that looks like a micro USB on the other end, right?
It does, doesn't it? And it's a long cable though. Like, how long did he think his member was?
Yeah, that's a couple meters at least. That's
it's a fucking big cable.
2.5 meters minimum.
I think that's a 3-meter cable, right? There, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the knot. Yeah, the knot's hard to tell.
Remember, listeners, don't put anything into your member.
To be fair, the X-ray could be like all that might not necessarily be in him. That could be like lying on his belly or something. Well, that,
maybe.
It'd still show up in the X-ray, wouldn't it?
Putting it in and then it going all the way in and getting it stuck, or it like hanging out the end and you having to go to the hospital.
They said it was hanging out. I think in this...
hanging out would be worse.
Yeah, it said it was hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that, you mad cunt.
You get that on the t-shirt. That's good. Thank you very much. Inevitable
enough
Vegan
of that.
Future.
Big up Inevitable Vegan Future as always. Avid listener, avid contributor as well. We must say he's probably number one contributor.
At this point, we're gonna have to start paying him.
I know. I think Josh needs to step it up. I've had no contributions from him, and I'll shout him out regularly.
Come on, Josh. Is this Basie Josh?
This is Basie Josh.
Basie Josh. Step it up, mate.
Yeah.
Oh well.
If you tell Die Glocke, was it what you said?
The Glocke. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What did you actually? What is it?
So this is Die Glocke.
Die Glocke.
Yeah. Have you heard of Die Glocke? Tom, maybe you've heard of Die Glocke.
I haven't. No. I am. I think I'm 205 days into Duolingo German, and I haven't come across Die Glocke yet.
Well, Die Glocke translates as the bell.
Okay.
So that's the bell in German.
I haven't learnt bell yet. Now.
I just realised I did have a little intro for this that I've completely forgot about, so I'm going to do it now for you. That might make you salivate a bit more.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, Die Glocke. Did the Nazis build an anti-gravity time travel machine? What links a UFO sighting over Pennsylvania in 1965 with a purported top secret Nazi experiment in the last stages of the Second World War? So we've got aliens, we've got time travel, we've got Nazis. I mean, this is ultimate.
All my favourite things.
So Die Glocke is the code.
It could be one of those porn names that we were talking about before, isn't it? Like, it could easily be a shit porn.
What, the Die Glocke?
No, Nazi, alien, time travelling.
Yeah, like
sluts from hell.
Infected sluts from hell.
Yeah.
Oh, I still haven't watched that. So Die Glocke is a purported top secret Nazi scientific technological device, a secret weapon or Wunderwaffe that was created in the last stage of the Second World War. So Wunderwaffe is German for wonder weapon.
Okay. Wunderwaffe, so it's Waffe, just weapon?
I think so. Yeah, Wunder is wonder.
Of all like how kind of like, you know, like people say like the German language sounds a little like threatening, you know, it all sounds aggressive and stuff. The word for weapon is very not aggressive, isn't it?
Waffe.
Waffe.
Oh, that's his main Waffe.
Why is coming after me with a Waffe? Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pronounced with a V though, wouldn't it? Yeah, Waffe.
Wunderwaffe.
Wunderwaffe.
Oh, das ist mein Wunderwaffe.
Yeah. Yeah, it still doesn't sound
not
very,
that threatening.
No.
Yeah. I suppose if you shouted it, it'd sound a bit more threatening.
Don't know, try it.
Ah, das ist mein Wunderwaffe. Sorry, listeners, that was probably really loud. Rob, you might have to edit that down a bit.
That's right. That's what compression is for.
Oh, so Wunderwaffes were like well known to exist. The Nazis did a few. There's like these weird planes they built that were like completely circular, like a traditional UFO, which is something that we'll get onto in a bit, like weapons and stuff like that. Anyway, so descriptions of Die Glocke were documented within transcripts taken from an interrogation of former Nazi SS officer Jakob Sporenberg after his capture by the Americans at the end of the war. In his interrogation, Sporenberg alleged that this was an experiment carried out by Third Reich scientists working for the SS in a German facility known as Der Riese, which translates as the giant. which is located near the Wenceslas mine on the Czech border. So anyone who's played Call of Duty may have some stirrings of memory, because this is what Nazi Zombies is based on, basically, this this alleged Nazi experiment. So the Glocke was a large object made of ceramic material between 12 to 14 feet tall and 9 feet wide. And the name comes from the fact that it was shaped like a large bell. The device contained 2 counter-rotating cylinders, which would be filled with a mercury-like substance, which glowed a violet-like colour, which was the liquid was codenamed Serum 525. And before being transported and put into the bell, Sporenberg said that it was stored in a tall, thin thermos flask, which was a metre high, all of which was encased in lead. And the Glocke also used other light metals, or Lichtmetall, so that's good, which included thorium and beryllium peroxides.
It's just reminded me of something, actually. You're talking about this bell as a weapon. Reminded me of this film that I saw when I was really young. I couldn't tell you what it was. It was just like one of those random like old films just on during the day.
Yeah.
And I remember me and my sister, we used to like, for some reason we found it hilarious, and we used to like play it for years to come. Like it was like they put this person, it was like a punishment. They like put them in a big massive bell, and then they rang the bell, and then they lift it off. They're all like, I don't know. And it always stuck. It just came back to me. Yeah, and we used to like put a washing basket over our heads, and we like pretend to hit it and be like, there you go.
That explains a lot. Maybe that this was the bell. This you never know. I might be about to say that they used to hit it with a big stick, and people come out like a cartoon, or their head would be bell shaped afterwards.
Yeah.
So, what bit was I up to? Oh yeah, I was saying that it also emitted strong radiation when it was activated, and this supposedly led to the deaths of several scientists, various plant and animal test subjects. And it also led to like effects in the Risa plant where it was being used. So like the ground was burnt and the concrete was melted away and stuff. So one of the stories was that it was used to see images from the past during its operation. So it contained red mercury, and Sporenberg described seeing stories from the past via a concave mirror which was placed on top of the device. So this was like a weird Nazi experiment that was undertaken. The Risa, which is the plant that was alleged to house the bell, is a real place. So it's like a big network of underground caverns and concrete bunkers that were built by the Nazis at the end of the war. And there's lots of structures in there that look like they housed a big bell or a big cylinder of some kind. But obviously it's all abandoned. No one's really got any information as to what it was exactly used for. However, there's one in particular which is called the henge, which, like I say, it looks like it was a fixture for something. So the theory is that this was the test rig for an experiment in anti-gravity propulsion, which Die Glocke was supposed to emit. So as part of it being powered up and used, anti-gravity was supposedly one of the effects. And anti-gravity is something that the Nazis were known to be working on towards the end of the war. So they were experimenting with a few different anti-gravity planes and fighter planes, some of which were then captured by the US, and the US started to experiment on them after the war.
So this is what people, it would have been, was it before or after, like people attribute Roswell to perhaps, there's one of the theories that what Roswell was a German vehicle, that actually crash landed, and the Americans grabbed it and took it because they wanted to know what it was. So it was top secret in that respect, but it wasn't actually aliens.
Yeah, that's one of the theories. So after the war, there was an operation called Operation Paperclip, where
that's one of those things that started off as a conspiracy, in it, but
it's actually true. Like,
they just took loads of Nazis,
Nazi scientists and stuff.
Yeah, brought them over to America and were like, "You do work for us now."
Yeah. So I think that's how NASA, a lot of...
That was early NASA, yeah.
Yeah, it was early NASA. So Operation Paperclip occurred between, I think, 1945 to 1946.
When was Roswell?
It was like 1952, maybe?
50s, yeah.
50-something, yeah.
1952. And
I heard one theory that, like... I hope this doesn't step on anything. It's nothing to do with Roswell or anything you're saying, is it? I'm not going to step on it. Yeah.
No.
The one theory that, like, as well as, like, this alien craft... that they reckon that they were also like Nazi experimented like people inside it.
I was just about to say that because I don't know if we've spoken about this on an episode before, but when you mentioned it rang a bell.
Yeah. I mean, we might have just watched the same podcast where they spoke about it, and it was like...
Wasn't it to do with like wasn't it Russians or something? They were like trying to...
They either reckon it's Russians or they reckon it's, or Nazis, and they were like, trying to... They were experimenting, or they did it to fuck with us.
Yeah,
they do say it was Russians. They did it to fuck with like the US to be like make us think it was aliens when really it was just like people and perhaps
radiation or something. It was all fucked up.
Yeah, little people. I don't know what the politically correct.
I retract my previous statement.
Little people is the politically correct term.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, I thought. Yeah. Is it really?
You can say, little person or dwarf.
Or dwarf, because dwarf is actually dwarfism is that, they reckon it was perhaps, people with dwarfism, and they fucked them up and like hacked them apart horribly to make them look like they were aliens just to fuck with us, and then crashed it.
That's a
a very dark
prank.
It's
it's just someone's like filming from across the road. It's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank.
It's a social experiment.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. Good theory though, isn't it?
I like it. I can't remember where I heard that. Maybe we did talk about it and you're the one that's told us.
I mean, there was someone on Rogan talking about it.
Oh, maybe it's Joe Rogan.
Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, it probably was Joe Rogan. Yeah. Maybe Joe Rogan's spoken about Die Glocke. I don't know. I can't
recall hearing it, but yeah.
So, so like I say, there was a lot of Nazi occult stuff going on. I mean, you can talk about, maybe we'll do an episode about the Nazi occult, but they were like into all sorts of weird shit, like crazy stuff that it sounds like an Indiana Jones film, but it's like legit. But one of the things one of the things that adds credence to the Glocke and some of its claims and some of the things that it produced were the reported Foo Fighters, not the band, but Foo Fighters that were reported during the last stages of the Second World War. Have you heard of a Foo Fighter? Do you know what a Foo Fighter is?
No,
but I'm guessing this is where they got their name.
I think so, yeah. I mean, the Foo Fighters, basically, it was the name given to unexplained or unidentified lights and craft that followed US and British fighter pilots during the war. And they called them Foo Fighters. It was just like a word they used. So they were originally seen towards the end of 1944 over Western Europe when fighter pilots and bombers reported seeing fast-moving round glowing objects following their aircraft. They were described as fiery, glowing red, white or orange, and some of them seemed to do like crazy turns, a bit like a modern-day UFO sight. I mean, this is before UFO sightings, because obviously they started happening in the 50s. But it's the same as like a UFO sighting, saying it did all like erratic movements. It was disc-shaped, emitted lights, stuff like that. So yeah, these reports were happening mostly over Western Europe. So when they were in contact with German Luftwaffe or the air force of the Germans, and they were reported in the Pacific, but not so much. So it was mostly when they encountered German fighters. So there's the theory that the Glocke was part of the result of Nazis' experiments into some sort of supersonic craft or spaceship-like craft that was able to make a lot of these really fast turns and crazy speeds because it was using antigravity, which is what a lot of other people have said. Like, was it Bob Lazar that we spoke about before? You know, he was describing these disc objects and stuff like that.
I mean, it's pretty much every UFO sighting ever, really, isn't it? Is a disc-like object.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was matey General Fravor.
Oh
Lieutenant
recent
Fravor,
one.
whoever it was. Yeah, the one that said about the different objects flying, wasn't it? But he called it like a Tic Tac.
Tic Tac UFOs, yeah.
Yeah, Tic Tac's the one they got on video. Like,
we showed it, didn't we? On one of the
it was
the
on one,
conspiracy theory episode 11.
Oh, still need to do another conspiracy theory episode. I love it. This could have been a good conspiracy. This is a conspiracy.
Well, we kind of just do, like individual conspiracies, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, if I had £1 for every time you said we should do an episode on that.
Well, this is where the conspiracy, it gets ratcheted up into conspiracy level.
Okay.
Nice.
So, obviously there's all this stuff, the purported Nazi experiments, which has got some basis in fact, some basis maybe in not fact. Heinrich Himmler was the big guy behind all the occult stuff. Obviously, he was a bit of an arsehole as well, but he was like big into his occult, and apparently he led a lot of these experiments. He commissioned the building of Project Risa, or the Giant, which is the complex that housed the bell, apparently.
Didn't he do one of the big rockets or something? It was like a Himmler rocket, wasn't there, or something? I think he's attributed to Himmler.
I mean, maybe it might have been to do with like the V2 rockets or something.
Yeah, I swear it had something to do with.
Which look exactly like the early NASA spaceship rockets, by the way.
No coincidence there, yeah.
Not that I'm calling NASA Nazis, but we know where they got their technology from.
Yeah.
Anyway, so end of the war happens. All of these Nazi scientists disappear, obviously into America. The Risa complex is closed off. A lot of the entrances are collapsed. It's all emptied. There's nothing in there at all. Lots of Nazi officials disappear. Lots of workers are executed. Obviously, unfortunately, there were a lot of workers from concentration camps that were used. So they were obviously killed towards the end of the war. So the Risa was forgotten, and it was lost for quite a few years until Polish agents rediscovered it, and they dug it out and they discovered this big complex of caves. So fast forward to 1965. December 9th, 1965 to be exact. And we're now in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in the US. And a UFO incident occurs, which is one of the more famous UFO incidents in the US, obviously apart from Roswell. So this occurred when a fireball was reported by citizens of 6 US states and Canada, which travelled over Detroit, Michigan, and Ontario in Canada. And people reported, over 6 US states and Canada, a large object streaking through the sky with hot metal debris raining down over Michigan and northern Ohio, which started grass fires and sonic booms in Pittsburgh as well. And in the village of Kecksburg, which is about 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh, citizens... Kecksburg, I know, it's great, isn't it?
I went past a place called Prick Willow, and I insisted we get out and take a photo. I was kind of like a bit like embarrassed though if anyone saw me. If I was, well, what a dickhead, man. It's a full-on adult, really cool. Full-on adult taking a picture of the sign.
So in Kecksburg, they reported that something the shape of a large bell had fallen out of the sky and crashed into the woods, causing wisps of blue smoke to trail behind it, very, very violent vibrations and a loud thump. The area where the object landed was immediately sealed off by US Army and state police officials, and a close inspection of whatever had fallen took place. State police officials roped the area off, and US Army engineers and scientists arrived and searched the area. However, the official report was that they found absolutely nothing. However, that is not accepted by many people in the area, because there was a lot of witnesses that reported seeing a large bell object that fell from the sky into the ground. So one of the, there's a few theories about this that might put water on the fire of the conspiracy, that it was a Soviet satellite that re-entered Earth's atmosphere and burned up. Obviously, that's why there was metal raining down. That's why it looked like a fireball, that sort of stuff. However, proponents of the theory that the bell and Kecksburg is linked state that this is either evidence that the bell travelled through time from 1944.
That's probably the most reasonable theory.
Yeah,
just
crash landed.
Why is that a theory? Why have they leapt to that? I don't.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, it's the most plausible.
So wait. So when did this happen? This happened.
So this was in 1965.
Right, I see. So they're saying that they were fucking about with it in 44.
Yeah.
Went forward in time
And crashed.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
So either it did that would explain why it disappeared, and there's no evidence, there's no documentation, there's nothing.
Because it jumped back.
No, because it jumped through time from 1944, whatever, 1945 to 1965.
Yeah.
Crashed, and then the American government found it, covered it up,
Right.
took it away, started experimenting on it, and that's what led to a lot of the things that Bob Lazar and other people have reported seeing at Area 51 or Area 52.
That's like the ultimate not my problem, isn't it? If you're fucking around with something and it's like, poof, you're like, what happened? Oh, it'll show up. Like, where? Other side of the world, another continent. When?
Being
21 years or so?
Imagine being one of those scientists that were in the room, and like obviously it happens, you're like, fucking hell, forget about it. And then 20 years later, you've moved to Kecksburg or you've moved to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And it just falls out of the sky next to your house.
Yeah.
Here you go. I got a theory for you.
Mm.
So what actually happened is we lost the war. Hitler won.
Oh.
Okay. They were fucking about with this thing, time travel. They managed to do it, but didn't realize they'd done. Like bang, it just went, and they were like, "Whoa!" And then in 1965,
exactly like that,
1965, it appeared.
Yeah,
The Americans found it.
Vo.
We're back in time.
The Americans found it, worked it out, reverse engineered it, got better at it because the technology was a bit better by then. Yeah, and then they went back in time and they fucking shot Hitler in the head and they won the war and they changed the course of history.
Shit, that's a good plot for a film.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, Die Glocke,
Get in
starring
touch.
Rob Oliver.
Get in touch, Spielberg, if you want to make that. Trademark.
Well, I'm in.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a good tagline to star you in it.
What you're trying to like?
I would star Rob in the
find
film.
what links Rob to Nazis or time travel.
No, it'd be like a good like tagline. It'd be
What you mean? Like what would be like my?
It'd be Judge Dredd.
Yeah, it'd be like Judge Dredd or something. Yeah. Never gets old, does it? Well, I mean, I like that theory. It's probably someone that's probably already suggested that theory. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey, mate.
But
original theory right there.
So that was one of the theories, is that it went forward in time. They obviously didn't have any way of getting it back. Crash landed. The Americans took it, covered it up, and then it got reversed engineered, and then it became what a lot of other people then reported seeing at Area 51. Is it Area 51 or Area 52? Can never remember.
51. Yeah.
Or the other theory is that the Americans captured it at the end of the war, so there wasn't any of this bullshit. Traveling forward in time, took it back to the US. So it wasn't a time travel machine. It was some sort of device that had anti-gravity, properties, or it had some sort of like advanced technology with it. They took it back to the US, used that in their rocket research and like stealth bomber research and all this sort of stuff. And in 1965, the crash landing was as a result of them trying to use this device, whatever it was, or use something that they'd developed from the device, and it crashed, and that to obviously cover it up, as it was a top secret military product or project.
Yeah.
So whatever the theory is with like Die Glocke, I mean, I like it as a story. I don't know whether it's true. So it seems
time travel's more realistic, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, time travel is more realistic. But I like the fact that it does tie into a lot of what we know about the US taking all these Nazi scientists, having all of these top secret projects. A lot of the stuff that was developed after the war looks like UFOs. Like there's these weird jet fighters that are completely circular. That it just looks like a UFO from an old cartoon. That was legit. That's what they were testing. That's what they were starting to build. And
isn't it true that stealth bombers and stuff came from Area 51? They say like the idea of a stealth bomber was kind of created in Area 51, and
I think so. I think that's what Area 51. It's like a testing range for all of like the Air Force's top secret planes and stuff. I want to try and find. There's a clip of this German like fighter jet.
I just thought, why is it called Area 51? Are there other areas? Like, is there an Area 12 and like an Area 34?
No, I don't think so.
And like was there?
Oh,
they've all been destroyed.
Yeah, that's a good point, though.
I'm looking it up. What does 51 in Area 51 refer to?
I like that bit in Independence Day when he's like, "There's no airbase there," and he's like, "Not on the map." He's like, "Trust me, it's there."
I can't find it now. There was a.
Basically, no one knows. Just someone knows.
Someone knows. I love Area 51. Like, there's videos on YouTube of people hiking out in Nevada or Utah, where
I've watched some of those. Yeah, that's a good hold getting doing it. Like an hour-long video of someone like unedited walking.
It's great. And like, there's all these cameras that pop up out of the middle of nowhere, and like, there's this one guy who has disappeared. I don't know if you've heard about. I can't remember his name now. He was hiking and he was posting videos online and stuff like that. And he found this weird cave that he wanted to go back and explore. Like, he said it had like this really weird feeling, like almost like he thought it was radiation or something that was to stop animals and people from going into this cave, like a frequency or something.
Yeah. Sound frequency, yeah.
So he said, "I'm going to go back to this cave," and he disappeared. Like, no one knows where the fuck he's gone. And people now go out trying to retrace his steps because he filmed a few videos and they know the general area where this cave was, which is close to Area 51. And people keep finding these weird caves that look like they've been intentionally like closed off, like either concreted over or the rocks have been blown up just above the entrance. So people are now saying that he got killed by the government because he found this entrance to a bit like a Thunderbird's island. It was like where a top secret jet flies out of or something like that, or Thunderbird 1, what's that, mole one, comes out of the ground and like drives about.
Thunderbird 4 has the mole inside of it.
Oh really? I thought the mole.
No.
Oh yeah, it drops the mole, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe we've
Thunderbird 2
Thunderbirds on the Curios Cast.
Thunderbird 2 is the big green one.
I used to like that one.
And that drops a pod, that has
the mole.
Either Thunderbird 4 comes out of it, which is the red one that swims, that's the underwater one, or a different pod it picks up, which is the mole.
I used to love the Thunderbird
there are a
episodes
few
where it was like the more obscure Thunderbirds were used.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The mole was one of the obscure Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
The mole, for some reason, was always one of my mum's favourites. She'd always be like, I like that one. It's a good one.
It is a good one. I agree with your mum.
Yeah, there you go. Cheers.
Mate, that'd be a great video if we uncovered that weird cave at Area 51. I want to go find it now. I want to go follow the steps.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Oh my god, Lynn set off the fire alarm. Fucking hell. There's no easy way to turn the fire alarm off.
That's going to be
really
fun.
Or is it like a smoke alarm? She's cooking or something?
Yeah, but it's really high up. I'm going to have to mute myself.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Should we cut here?
I was going to say, it's a good job it's not like George's episode or nothing, is it? Really?
Yeah. Right.
While you're waiting for that, he just reminded me, right? I'll tell you a story.
She's off. She's
I'll tell
off.
you a story.
She's sorted it.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'll tell you a story, right? Because thinking of Holland and alarms, okay?
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you about the greatest sound I've ever heard. I don't know whether I've told this story before. I hope I haven't. We were in one of the first times I visited Amsterdam, okay?
Oh, yeah, we know what this is going to be.
Me and a few friends, we'd gone, right? And we'd partaken in some of the local delicacies.
Oh, you surprised me.
And it all got a bit much. So we'd gone back to the hotel room, as you do. And when I say delicacies, these are of the fungal variety, right? And and it all like, I mean, there's a whole other side to the tale, but one of my friends wasn't having a great time. Let's say, okay. And but so it all been a bit much. You what?
There's always one.
Yeah, and he was in another room, and we were downstairs, kind of trying to sort of recover from this ordeal that we'd all sort of been part of.
All right.
And it was all okay, and we were sort of like, yeah, this is nice. And we were just lying on the bed, kind of just relaxing. I think maybe we'd probably smoked a little herb to take the edge off, which always helps. And the window was open, and I was like playing the guitar, and I don't know what it was. Like, it must have been a mixture of like the flat land in Holland, or like it's just flat everywhere in Amsterdam rather. I know not all of Holland is. Sorry, Lynn. And like this siren happened, like a siren happened in the distance, and it sort of echoed. But it must be. I assume that's what it was. But we were all lying there, and I was just like lazily playing out this chord, just and this sound just came over that was just happened to be perfectly in tune with the chord, and it was like this. Like just, and it like filled the entire room, and I was just like, I like felt it throughout my whole body, and I didn't want to say anything.
Communicating with the music god.
I wanted to be like, is anyone else hearing this? But I didn't want to ruin the sound. Yeah. And then it sort of waited, and it sort of did it, and it came, and it faded out, and as it faded out, all of us in the room were like, ah, what was that? What the fuck was that noise? We're like, oh, I'm so glad you heard it. Ah. And we all did the same. We didn't want to say anything because we didn't want to ruin it. Like, that was amazing. It was like I felt it on my whole body. It was like, yeah, me too.
You said you'd taken drugs just before this.
But yeah. I mean, that was a factor, right? But something happened. Like, for us all to experience it exactly the same way. Like, it must have just
in here. I think the first Monday of every month they test like an alert siren. I guess it's like for like a disaster or like nuclear war or something. So every Monday at like maybe 9 or 10 in the morning, there's just sirens all over. It sounds like a World War II siren,
yeah.
Like across the whole of Holland,
like an air raid siren.
I might have a recording actually, so I sent it to my parents.
Mad.
I didn't know. Lynn hadn't told me before. So when I sort of the first or second week,
you're hiding under the bed.
Yeah, so Lynn had gone to work, and it was before I'd started my job. So I was just like in the flat doing work or whatever. And this siren started happening, and I thought, this is it. Like, they're having a go. This is it. It's all over.
Well, you get it. We used to get it. I haven't had it in years, but every now and then you'd get it like around our way, and they'd be testing the flood defences, weren't they? It was like a flood warning rather, and it was literally an air raid siren, an old air raid siren that they had, and they'd be testing it out to make sure it still worked.
I know they still do it in, was it Dungeness? Not Dungeness.
Dungeness.
There's that firing range above Southend on one of the islands, like, I can't remember the name of it now. But they do sirens there when they start blowing stuff up.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard a siren in person,
Yeah, man, it's weird. It's like properly an air raid siren, and it's eerie. You can imagine how fucking horrible it must have been when that meant hide because there's fucking bombs coming. Like,
well, that meant hide
sound.
because the Glocke is flying about. Look at that segue.
Returning segue. Go on.
That's it.
Sega's back. I've got. Oh, okay.
I feel like Lynn's interruption, sort of was a fitting end to an unknown story.
I mean, it got a chance to tell my my Amsterdam.
The best sound ever.
I told that at university once. I think like. I don't know whether, like, I did like a music production course. I don't know whether the lecturer said something about what are some good sounds you heard, or whether I was just like, who's got a story about a good sound? Like, and then I think maybe he did prompt it, and I said that, and like my mate James knew what I was going to say, and he was like, don't. And I was like, honestly, and everyone just looked at me like, you're all right, mate.
So your lecturer was really grasping at straws if he was saying in the lecture, anyone got any good sounds?
man. Yeah.
You know, that's a day where he's just come in hungover and he really don't want to teach, and he's just like, best sounds you've ever heard.
I'll ever tell you another time as well at uni where we were doing presentations and we were doing them on the projector, and me and my mate James, it was funny the other day actually. I was with him and me and Josh were taking a piss because I never mentioned him on the podcast. I was like, I mention Josh all the time. Don't mention you. I'm now mentioning him. He don't listen anyway, prick. And we'd done this presentations and we'd both used my laptop. So he'd used my laptop to do it, and we just got my laptop out and plugged it into the projector, right? And he was doing his presentation. He had like some YouTube links, and they didn't work. So he went on Safari and typed in "you," and for whatever reason, I hadn't cleared my history, and he just came up with this like long list of like "you" porn fucking links on the projector in front of the whole class. Everyone was like, fuck's sake.
Oh, I love it.
That's classic.
Before we finish, actually, I should just say, I mentioned Call of Duty. Has it clicked, Tom? I know you're a Call of Duty fan. Nazi zombies, the Glocke. I think it was like World War II. That was like what is all based around.
Yeah, it wasn't until you mentioned Derice, which is one of the maps that you can play on zombies. And yeah, I don't know if they specifically mentioned Die Glocke. They might do, and I've just forgotten. But there is a lot of the areas that you'll go on the game are old Nazi testing facilities, because the kind of lore is that the Nazis were testing on humans to make these human soldiers, and they unintentionally made zombies that come from like this other dimension and shit. So yeah, I don't know if they refer to any of the machines as is it Die Glocke or Die Glocke? Probably Die Glocke, right? As Die Glocke.
Yeah,
but
Die Glocke. Die Glocke.
But yeah, I don't know if they specifically have Die Glocke, but like now I'm looking at like artists' interpretations of it. It does look like maybe in the game they did take a lot of inspiration from it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it was used. I just looked at Wunderwaffe as well. There's loads of weird jets that they were building at the end of the war.
Oh yeah, it's funny because you hear like everyone knows that like the Nazis were doing all mad experiments and stuff during the war, and they had all the best scientists that were messing around with time travel and anti-gravity and stuff. And then you'd think, obviously they had the Operation Paperclip where they took the Nazis and built some shit, but it seems like you hear, it's obviously conspiracies and stuff, but you hear that their technology was like more progressed than ours is now, and they'd like invented all this mad shit and hovercrafts and all this and that. It's like, well, surely that's not real, because otherwise we would have figured it out by now.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe that technology was all lost if they, destroyed it at the end of the war or whatever.
Yeah, but then as Tom's saying, we'd also just, whether that was lost or not, we'd just got there by now.
Yeah, it's like
but we're not at war, right? So like during the war, technology. They
do say that loads of the American tech, there's loads of mad shit that the Americans have invented. This, we just
maybe
don't know about yet.
Sitting on it, like there's no point releasing it or announcing it because it just gives it away. Maybe.
Yeah. Look at what I just sent you. There's like a fighter that was in development, a bomber that was in development by the Nazis, but it looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's mad.
I'd say it looks more like a stealth thing than a.
But I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like that looks like a modern day stealth bomber.
Yeah, it looks like a Thunderbird. Yeah.
So it's weird.
Did you ever have like a moment when you was maybe at like school or something where a bit of knowledge that you'd learnt through like a video game or like a cartoon or something like comes in handy at school? I remember being in history, and when we touched on like the Renaissance and stuff, there was so much stuff that I'd learnt from Assassin's Creed that that just was relevant, and it was actually like obviously when they're making these games, these people obviously do tons of research into that time period or whatever they're basing the game around, that a lot of it is factual and a lot of it is based on this, real events, that when you come to actually learn, it's like, oh, I learnt this when I was playing PlayStation a few weeks ago.
Didn't really have computer games like that when I was in school.
Talking about Assassin's Creed, like the whole, is it Assassin's Creed 2? Like it's about like all of the like the Mona Lisa and what's it called, that film about the Holy Grail and
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, which it was all made up by what's his name, but Assassin's Creed 2 is just all about all these weird like religious conspiracies and stuff.
Knights Templar and stuff.
Knights Templar, all that sort of stuff. It's just interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's why I like conspiracies so much, because I used to play games about conspiracies.
Jokes, that was good, George.
But yeah, so that was it.
Wet my whistle for more Nazi conspiracies, to be honest with you.
Hey?
It's wet my whistle for more Nazi-based conspiracies.
Well,
Should we become a Nazi-based podcast?
That'd be really good. Yeah, I'm sure that we won't get cancelled at all.
We need to find a niche.
But there is a lot you can talk about, like weird stuff. Obviously, if we talk about Nazis, we'll avoid talking about the more horrendous side of their stuff. But I've got a little stuff they were involved in.
I've got a little mystery cooking as well, George, just especially for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got it brewing. You got it.
I got it brewing. Yeah, it's on the. It's lightly simmering on the stove at the minute.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll bring that back for after the special.
Oh yeah. Do people know about the special yet? I don't think they do.
Stay tuned for a special episode.
For a special
coming up soon.
I'm not going to tell you what it is.
No,
but it'll be worth the wait.
No. All right, let's wrap up.
Yeah, always wrap up. As Rob said.
Like the bishop said to the altar boy.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're not getting cancelled. We are now.
All
right. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
See you next week.
Episode 48.
Wunderwaffe.